In my early days of motherhood, a friend casually asked me how my breastfeeding journey was going. I laughed and told her that I'm never going to see a cow the same way again, thanks to a hungry monster who always wants to chomp at my breasts. Hi everyone, welcome back to Mama Avocado Toast, a space where we discuss work, life, motherhood, and everything in between. I'm Akshita and I'm a new mom. In today's video, I'm discussing one of the most important topics of bringing up a newborn, breastfeeding. Here, I must say that I'm neither a certified gynecologist, pediatrician, or lactation consultant. I'm just sharing things that I learned along this journey and that really worked for me. But before we get into the basics, I want to bust a few myths around breastfeeding. I heard a lot of these from women around me in my family and friend circle, and I did some research to understand whether these myths were true or not. So the first myth is that in the beginning, your body does not produce enough milk for the baby. In the initial days of breastfeeding, what you will see is that your body produces a thick yellowish liquid called colostrum. That is called liquid gold, and even a few drops of colostrum is enough to keep your baby's tummy full. Your baby does not need to be given top feed unless your pediatrician advises so. The second myth is that in order to produce milk, you must be drinking milk. Not true. While it's important to keep yourself hydrated, you don't have to be chugging liters of milk in order to produce milk. Milk supply is a function of a healthy diet, your baby's own breastfeeding requirements, and a few other things, not just milk. The third myth is that you cannot breastfeed or that your milk supply will be less if your breasts are small. Again, not true. Your breast size has nothing to do with your milk supply. The fourth myth is that you must stop breastfeeding if you are sick. Not true. You must continue to breastfeed even if you're sick. In fact, when you're sick, your body produces antibodies which are passed down to the baby and can actually help the baby. Fifth myth, I heard a lot of this in my family, that washing your hair or feeding your baby with wet hair will affect your milk supply. Again, not true. Your hair being wet has nothing to do with breastfeeding. You can continue to wash your hair. Just dry it in order to ensure that you don't catch a chill, but it has nothing to do with your milk supply. And finally, the one myth we hear a lot in Desi families is that you should avoid certain kinds of food completely. Rajma, chana, cold food, garlic, hing. Again, not true. You can have everything in moderation. The only foods I was specifically told to avoid was, of course, alcohol. Avoid Chinese food from outside as it has MSG, and to watch my caffeine intake. So the one thing I always assumed about my breastfeeding journey was that when the time came, my baby would know instinctively how to reach out, latch on, and draw milk, and that I would know how to do it well enough as well, because I had watched a few videos. I'd even done a course on breastfeeding. But then what I realized is when the time comes, it's a completely new process for both you and baby, and it's fine to not have the perfect latch in the start because you're both learning. So a few tips for getting the perfect latch. One is ensure that you bring the baby to the breast and not the breast to the baby. Also ensure that whenever your baby is latched on, their mouth covers the areola, not just the nipple, and that whenever they are drawing milk, you can hear sucking sounds. Don't worry whether your baby is getting enough milk or not, because they will latch on and then they will instinctively latch off when they feel satisfied. If for whatever reason they're unsatisfied or they're having discomforts, they will cry, and that's when you start to look out for signs of what's going wrong. But it's very important to be patient, to not put too much pressure on yourself or your baby. If for whatever reason, if your latch hurts or you feel any discomfort, please consult a lactation consultant. One tip that I would give you is it's very helpful to keep some sort of a Lancino cream with you for an SOS situation, especially because you don't have to wipe it off, so you can use it if you have cracked or dry nipples. So now I'm talking about one of the most important topics that's talked about in the context of breastfeeding, milk supply. I've already mentioned this, that the size of your breast has nothing to do with milk supply. How often should you be feeding your baby? What my pediatrician advised me was that once the baby goes back to their birth weight, in the first couple of days they tend to lose about 100-150 grams. You can move to a feed on demand model where you can feed them when they cry and ask for it. You shouldn't go for more than 4 hours without feeding, especially in the first few weeks, because your body is understanding how much milk to produce. Your body is establishing a rhythm because every time your baby feeds, it actually sends a signal to your body to produce milk. The second thing I would tell you is not to worry if your milk supply is falling short, because your body is sort of understanding how much milk to produce. If your pediatrician or your gynec advises, you can also include some supplements or galactagogues in your diet. Galactagogues are food items that can help boost milk supply. Skin to skin contact is very important, and if you don't have time or you're exhausted, you can also ask your partner to do some skin to skin contact. Don't miss night feeds because your prolactin actually peaks at night. I know it can be really tiring in the beginning, but hang in there, mama. And finally, the one thing that I would tell you is something I'm sure you've heard. Ensure you're hydrated and include healthy meals in your diet. Have good protein, good carbs, good grains, green leafy vegetables. So now let's talk about some of the discomforts that happen with breastfeeding. The first and most common one is sore nipples. This usually happens if the latch is not correct. The best thing to do if you're in doubt is to ask your gynec pediatrician, or even better, a lactation consultant. These days in most hospitals, they actually guide you on how to get the latch correct before you leave, so you don't face issues later on. If in case you are having sore nipples, the best thing to do is to use a cream that has Lancino, because that usually soothes the area. It's food grade, so it need not be wiped off while breastfeeding. The other thing you can do is a cold compress. You get pads, cold compress pads in the market, or you can just DIY it. A lot of people use cold cabbage leaves, or you can actually take some ice or an ice pack and apply that as well. The one thing that I actually didn't know, but I learned later on in the journey, the one thing that works beautifully for sore nipples is your own breast milk. Apply a few drops of it. The second most common discomfort is engorgement. So engorgement usually happens when your milk just starts coming in, and when there's actually more milk in your breast than your baby is taking, and that's very common in the first few days. So how to help engorgement? The first thing you can do is feed the baby often. My gynec actually used this one expression that your baby is the best breast pump. So feed often, don't go very long without feeding. Use a cold compress after feeding, a warm compress before. In the cold compress, you can actually even use cabbage leaves. This has been a very common solution and it really works, trust me. The other thing you can do to relieve engorgement is to massage your breasts and even pump a little. You can either hand express or use a pump, but don't over pump because this sends the wrong message to your brain. Your body will start creating more milk and you already have more milk than your baby needs. So this will actually lead to further engorgement. Just pump enough to relieve the pressure and the pain. The third most common discomfort is leaking. Leaking is also called a letdown reflex. This happens a lot in the earlier days because again your body is just figuring out how to make milk, and even something as small as your baby is crying, in fact even another baby is crying, can cause leaking. Sometimes you can also leak when you're feeding from one breast, the other breast will start leaking. So how do you relieve leaking? The most common thing to do is use a breast pad in your bra. The pad actually soaks the additional milk, but the problem with that is that you're actually letting milk go waste. So a smarter thing to do is to use a Haakaa pump. A Haakaa pump is a collector that actually sits on your breast and collects all the milk that leaks, and then you can actually use it towards building your milk supply and then feeding your baby later on from the bottle or a katori chamach when you're not able to offer the breast. Okay, so here I just want to discuss a few tools that really help my own breastfeeding journey. The first is a good breastfeeding pillow. It really helps because in the early days your baby is tiny, and if you have a good pillow, it can provide a firm base to your baby and also to your back. It can give you the right back support. Most of the pillows are designed in a manner where you just strap them across your back, place your baby on it and then feed. The second is some nipple cream or balm. Like I've said earlier, it's best to get one that has Lancino because Lancino is absolutely safe to have on while the baby is feeding. You don't need to remove it. The third is a good nursing bra and nursing pads. A nursing bra because it's designed in a manner where it can be unhooked and then you can very easily bring your baby to breast. Nursing pads because they help absorb the extra milk. A Haakaa pump or a silicone collector, they can be used to collect that extra milk if you're leaking and then used towards building your milk supply. Galactogogues because galactogogues, like I mentioned earlier, are foods that help boost your milk supply. Garlic, drumsticks, oats, barley. I used to actually have a herbal tea made of fennel, which is soft, methi, fenugreek, and ajwain, carom seeds. I would take all of these three together, boil them in water, then strain out the water and continue to sip it through the day. You can also include some supplements which come in the form of tablets and granules and powder, but I would highly recommend that please get this prescribed by a doctor. Don't just have it without any prescription. And finally, the one thing that I would advise, whether you're planning to exclusively breastfeed or express, is a breast pump, because what I realized is that a breast pump doesn't only help you if you're planning to build a milk supply, it also really helps engorgement. I'll actually make an entire video on just breast pumps and their usage, but very important to have a breast pump, whether manual, whether electronic. In conclusion, what I learned, and I wish what someone had told me earlier, is that breastfeeding isn't just physical work, it's also mental work. It's so important to feel positive throughout the journey, not feel worried, not feel stressed, because that does affect your milk supply. It's also very important to surround yourself with supportive people and put a barrier to unsolicited advice if it comes your way. Remember, mama, you are enough. You are feeding your baby with love. You are feeding your baby with nourishment, and that's all you truly need. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Do tell me in the comments what you'd like me to create upcoming content on. Till then, keep glowing, keep growing.